welcome to this special edition of Perspective. I'm Mike Miller, Election Coverage 2012. My special guest today, the chairman of the Fairfield County Republican Party, Kyle Farmer, and the chairman of the Fairfield County Democratic Party, Mike Oatney. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for being with us today. Appreciate you both coming in on short notice, and again, thank you very much. Let's talk in general first. Let's talk a little bit about each party. Where are we in Fairfield County, and just some of the challenges you both face.
Right. The Democratic Party, I think, is doing very well in Fairfield County. We're typically the underdog, just numerically speaking, but right now we've got a headquarters on North Columbus Street, our party headquarters, and we've got two Obama headquarters in the county now. One behind Roosters on Memorial Drive and one on Hill Road in Pickerington. So that's the most activity we've had prior to an election in many years, having that many places where you can get information or register to vote or do the many things, get yard signs and whatever. So I'm very, very pleased with the way we're going right now.
Kyle?
Well, obviously this is a really busy time of the year for us, and has been since June. We've been out knocking doors and working on getting people out to vote since June. So we're happy to be in the home stretch and feel good about where we're at. Obviously, our headquarters is at 118 East Main Street in Lancaster, and anybody that wants more information about candidates or would like to come out and help us can come out there. Or our presence on the web is at fairfieldgop.com. Please sign up for our email alerts. We're on Facebook. Just look for Fairfield County Republican Party, and you can follow us on Twitter at fairfieldgop.com. So all the information right there on our website.
Well, as we talked a little bit off air, this is election season, and every year we hear about voter turnout. We hear about, well, we only had 25% or 35%. Your thoughts on getting people to get out and vote?
Well, obviously, you know, Mike and I both serve on the Fairfield County Board of Elections, and happily work together in that group. And so we want to make people feel comfortable with voting. We want them to come out to the polls and vote. And we also have a absentee early vote program all over the state of Ohio that allows people to vote from the convenience of their own home or at the Board of Elections. And I'll let Mike talk a little bit about that program.
Right, yeah, you can come in, if you're registered to vote, you can come in anytime to the Board of Elections. You should have already got an absentee ballot request from the Secretary of State in the mail. Fill that out and send it in. That'll get you an absentee ballot. Currently, today we are at right at 12,000 absentee requests already. Now those won't go out until early voting starts next week. So. And besides that, then you can come in any time up to the third day before the election, which would be that Friday before the election on Tuesday, and vote in person at the Board of Elections, 951 Liberty Drive. It's out by the Motor Vehicle Bureau, if everyone knows where that's at. Come on out, you can vote anytime, or vote from, like Kyle said, from the convenience of your home, absentee. So we're looking for a really substantial turnout this year.
Well, let's talk about some of the races coming up. Let's start with the Fairfield County Commissioner race, Steve Davis and Reed Bailey.
Mr. Bailey has got two degrees, a Bachelor of Science from Mechanical Engineering from OSU and a Master of Business Administration from Capital, which he thinks will be a benefit to him in county administration. Some of the things he talks about, good governance and good leadership for we the people. And Reed will seek opinion, listen to, and build long-term, clear visions of how to spend the precious county revenues, and Reed will bring Fairfield County fresh, respectful, passionate, and inspired leadership. And another thing he's interested, law enforcement, and we're in this county, we've got a large drug and crime problem, and he wants to address that more fully. Also, Mr. Bailey supports improving the public infrastructure with roads, bridges, high-speed internet everywhere, and safe intersections on Route 33. Improved infrastructure leads to economic growth, and economic growth leads to more jobs. Those are his words, because he gave me these notes to speak for him, so that's where he's coming from.
Thank you very much. Kyle?
Well, I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm really biased in this because Steve Davis is one of my best friends in the world, and I think of him as a brother. And I think you'll be really, really hard pressed when you look at Steve's record to find someone who was appointed to a public office who has gotten more done in less time than Steve has. I'll just give you one example. He came in, and our county historical park system was a mess. We were in this middle of the road where we weren't really funding them to their potential, but yet we were giving them money that was kind of going into a black hole. And Steve said, this ain't gonna work. We're gonna fix this one way or the other, and whether that's we're gonna stop funding county parks or we're gonna fund them correctly, we're gonna find a solution. He said, we're gonna put you on the ballot one more time. And if this passes, then we're going to have a county park system. And if it doesn't, we're going to stop funneling money into a black hole. And folks worked real hard, and that passed. We took it to the voters. It wasn't imposed on people, and the voters said yes. And now we have a county park system that in the next few years is going to be the envy of the region, I really believe. And that is a direct result of Steve Davis's leadership. And I could give you other examples, but that's the kind of guy that Steve is. He's a local attorney, has roots in this community, and is just going to continue to do a great job as our commissioner.
The next race, again, county commissioner race, Dave Levacy and George Halloran. And, Kyle, you want to start with Dave?
Sure. Dave is a fantastic guy. He is the owner of the Buckeye Lake Marina in Millersport. He's been there for decades, runs a small business, understands what it is to meet payroll in good times and bad times, to keep that business thriving. I mean, the water sport industry is an industry that when the economy is questionable gets affected very early and stays affected for a very long time. And Dave has maintained that business very, very successfully. He was the Millersport fire chief for years. He's the president of Millersport City Council. He has dedicated his free time to public service in the northern part of Fairfield County. And I can't imagine a person with better tools, better intelligence, and a better business background than Dave to come in and take over in the role of county commissioner. I think he'll do a great job.
George Halloran?
Yeah, George has currently been 14 years a Greenfield Township trustee, and he thinks, and I do too, that his experience as a township trustee will be a great asset to him in working at the county level. He's always been interested in the job and has worked hard to get to talk to people and get a feeling for what's needed infrastructure-wise and otherwise in the county, and I think he will do a good job.
The first state representative race in District 78 is Jeremy Van Meter and Ron Hood. Talk about Jeremy with that?
Yeah, I sure can. Excuse me. Okay. I've known Jeremy since he was 16. He came to the Democrat meetings back with his mom back in the day. Right after he wanted to get involved in politics, he, as a young man, just barely out of school, got involved with Bern Union School Board, was elected there, was on there several years, and then ran for the county school board, the ESC board, which supports all the schools in the county. Wasn't happy with the way things were going there. Got things changed around and improved where they're doing a much better job supporting the county schools now, and he's currently president of that board. He's doing very well. His focus again is education, the Ohio Worker. He has been endorsed. He has got, I dropped it on the floor already, which was my long string of endorsements. The iron workers, carpenters, operating engineers, my old union, the United Steel Workers, Local 50 of the local police here in Lancaster endorsed Jeremy, and some of these some of these endorsements are nonpartisan endorsements because Jeremy's at cross. One of his main criteria is to work across the aisle to get things done. That's the whole thing. We don't want to go in there and be just a D or just an R. He wants to go in there and work for the people of Ohio. And that's his focus, and I think he's impressed on everybody that's heard him that that's what he wants to do, and I think he will do a great job at that.
Republican ticket, Ron Hood.
Well, I think first of all, we probably need to talk about the 77th district and where it is, because obviously we've gone through a redistricting process in Fairfield County, and the 77th district is new.
78th district.
I'm sorry, the 78th. The 77th district is new as well, but this is 78. The 78th district covers essentially the lower third of the county. It doesn't include any of the city of Lancaster, essentially north. It does include Bloom Township and that area, Bloom Carroll Schools, essentially in the new 78th district. So that just for folks who are watching that wonder, well, we've always been represented by one state representative. You're right, you have, but that's going to change come January after this election. So this is the 78th district, as I like to say, the lower third of the county. Ron Hood is our candidate in the 78th district. Ron has served in the state legislature before. He has great experience working in the state legislature. When I asked Ron, how do you describe yourself? He says, I'm a genuine conservative. And if you look at his record, he really bears that out. He is a pro-life, pro-gun guy. He is going to represent that district, and as it sprawls out a little bit across the southern part of the state of Ohio, he will do an absolute great job, and I look forward to working with Ron.
The next state representative, District 77, Gerald Stapleton, a Republican ticket, and Kelly Brown on a Democratic ticket. Let's start with Gerald.
Well, I have the benefit of having run against Jerry and gotten my rear end kicked back in 2006 in the primary. So let me tell you what, I don't envy anybody being on the other side of Jerry Stapleton in a race, because I know firsthand what an amazing competitor he is. Jerry has done a great job in the legislature, and he's going to continue to represent Lancaster and Pickerington in the northern part of Fairfield County really, really well. He is as involved in education issues as any person in the Ohio House of Representatives, and continues to work and push so that every child has the benefit of a great public education across the state of Ohio. Jerry obviously runs a law firm here in town and does a great job with that, has tremendous roots in this community, and has done a really good job representing Fairfield County.
Kelly Bryant?
Kelly, this is what I alluded to earlier on. She's one of those ladies who got fired up by the SB5 issue, the issue 2, that she was taken aback that Mr. Stapleton had voted for that in the Assembly, and said, well, I can do better. So she is focused mainly on that type of aspect, that workers' rights and education, and wants to ensure that all Ohioans have equal access to a quality, affordable education at all levels. We need a General Assembly that understands the struggles of the Ohio working and middle class, is willing to set aside partisan bickering to do what's best for Ohio. And that's where she's coming from. She's currently, she has 2 master's degrees and is currently working as a distribution company up by Buckeye Lake. But she's really wants to get in and try and do a good job for the citizens of Fairfield County.
The state senator in District 20, between Teresa Scarmack and Troy Balderson. And talk a little bit about Teresa.
Yeah, Teresa, here again, is an SB5 issue person that got involved after SB5. She is a master teacher in the Logan Hocking School system. Now, the Senate District 20 goes way around. It's like 12 counties. It's huge. But it does include all of Fairfield County, so that she's endorsed by the Ohio Education Association, all the Democratic parties all over her district, Hocking, Fairfield, Guernsey, and Muskingum. She's a graduate of the Ohio State University, and like I say, a master teacher, and she goes on about all the things, the affordable, high-quality education, employment opportunities for all the citizens in our district, and ensuring quality, affordable health care, and safeguard the health and wellness by strict enforcement of standards of clean, safe, efficient energy development.
Troy Balderson?
Yeah, Troy is currently in the Ohio Senate and previously served in the Ohio House of Representatives. And as this process of redistricting was going on, you're always a little nervous about who you might end up with. And I was thrilled because there's not somebody who doesn't live in Fairfield County that is going to do a better job with Fairfield County values than Troy Balderson. This is a guy who grew up on a farm. He's been involved in small business. He's come to public service and he gets things done. And let me give you an example. We had the situation over in Zanesville last year where the animals got loose and tragically had to be shot by the sheriff's deputies who really didn't have any other option. They had to get that situation contained. And a number of people said, we can't let this happen again. And Troy was the guy who said, okay, we're going to put together some legislation that is going to look at this problem. We're going to hear from all sides. Took his time, went through, listened to folks and said, okay, this is the approach that we're going to take in the state of Ohio regarding exotic animals. Got that bill passed in the Ohio House, got it passed in the Ohio Senate. The governor signed it, and now we have a program in place that can deal with these issues before they become tragedies. That's just the kind of thing that Troy Balderson does. Proud to know him, proud to call him my friend, and he's going to make a great state senator for Fairfield County.
The state representative in the 15th district is Steve Stivers, Republican Party, and Pat Lang on the Democrat Party. Kyle, you want to start?
Sure. I first of all, I would be remiss if I didn't start this conversation out by saying what a tremendous job I believe that Congressman Steve Austria has done for Fairfield County, and how much we in the Fairfield County Republican Party, and I think really the county as a whole, will miss him. I wish him well and whatever the future holds for him. But again, as the redistricting process went through, we were thrilled to learn that Steve Stivers was going to be our representative candidate in Fairfield County. Steve obviously is pretty well known in Central Ohio from his races with Mary Jo Kilroy, and I have every reason to believe that Steve will do a great job as a candidate in Fairfield County. He's spent a lot of time here already. He's going to continue to spend a lot of time here, get to know folks. I'm going to be a great congressman for us. Steve is a fiscal conservative, which is exactly what we need in Washington right now. He's in favor of a balanced budget amendment and is going to work real hard to get our fiscal house in order at the national level.
Pat Lang?
Yeah, Pat's currently the city solicitor, the lawyer for the city of Athens, Ohio, which is in his district. In 15. And one of the first things he wants to do if he gets elected is to introduce a bill to provide tax breaks for bringing over the jobs that have been shipped overseas back to these shores, and end subsidies that reward firms for moving jobs overseas. Also wants to call on banks to increase lending to small businesses, which is always a good step. He will vote to expand effective investments in education, and wants a strong middle class that depends on schools that are second to none. He will support debt and deficit reduction efforts. A strong middle class depends on protecting the next generation from debt. And the biggest thing is protecting the Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security from cuts.
The U.S. Senate race between Josh Mandel and Sherrod Brown. And Mike, want to talk about Josh? Or I'm sorry, about Sherrod.
Sherrod, yeah. Sherrod's, I know Sherrod personally, a great guy, has been working very hard on our behalf, all Ohioans. He, from my point of view, I'm a liberal Democrat and an environmentalist, and Sherrod Brown always votes the way I would like to see the vote go. Not often far enough that I would like to see him go, but he votes the way I should think. He has voted, and actually one of his bills is still in the Senate right now waiting on House action, that voted a bill to censure or restrict China from manipulating their currency in order to give them an advantage in trade. So he sponsored that. He has worked tirelessly He's got like a 99% voting, being there for votes in the Congress. So he's always there working for us. I don't know how he has a home life, but he's one of those guys who thinks of nothing but doing better for the citizens of Ohio. One of the big things he's worked on, he helped sponsor the auto bailout, which saved the auto industry in Ohio. And the other thing was trade. He's always been wants to look into all these trade agreements and see if they really do benefit the citizens of Ohio or not. And he's been a vocal critic of some that haven't been so good for us.
Kyle, we'll talk about Josh Mendel.
Well, Josh is currently the Ohio Treasurer, and Josh is a former Marine who has served in Iraq and is come back and was elected to the Ohio House of Representatives. And one thing that a lot of people don't know about Josh is that the district that he was elected in up near Cleveland in the northeast part of Ohio was an overwhelmingly Democratic district. And when Josh went out and in his office, he's got the shoes with the holes literally worn in the bottom that he went out and knocked on as many doors in that district as he possibly could, and really stunned a lot of people by winning that district, and went on and was successfully elected to the state treasurer's role. And then a lot of people went to Josh, including myself, and said, we hope that you run for U.S. Senate. And Josh has done that and is running a great campaign. I think the one thing that sums up this race as much as anything that Josh tells folks is, if you want to change Washington, you've got to change the people that you send to Washington. And I think Josh Mendel would be a fresh breath of air in the U.S. Senate, help to get things done, and I look forward to voting for Josh.
We're going to wrap up with the presidential election and its effect here in Fairfield County, but a couple things that we've mentioned today. We've talked about reach across the aisle, a couple other things that people have asked me about, advertising, finances, things like that. Some of your thoughts about working together, Democrats, Republicans, and reaching across the aisle, and what that involves and what that means to you guys.
From my point of view, what I miss is the old GOP, not the Tea Party GOP. The old GOP, we used to be able to bring a bill to the floor, and we'll give a little bit, and you give a little bit, and we'll come to an understanding in the middle. Everybody gets a little, a little something of what they want. The country benefits, whereas the gridlock we have now, it's either white or black. There's no gray in the middle there. We need a gray area, and I think that's what we need the people in Washington to do now, is find that gray area where both sides, R's and D's, independents, whoever, can work together and get the country moving forward.
Well,
I think one thing that I think about when we talk about working across the aisle is a saying that I try to live by is that Fairfield County is a small town, and this is a long life. And the things that Mike and I, for instance, disagree on are far less important than the things that we agree on. And I'm proud to call Mike my friend, and I'm proud to work with him on the Board of Elections in a manner that is nonpartisan, not even bipartisan. It's nonpartisan. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and we get things done to make sure that the elections are free and fair in Fairfield County. I think we do a great job doing that. Listen, the system's broke in Washington, D.C. I don't think there's any debate about that. If you look, bill after bill after bill after bill is passed out of the U.S. Congress, the House of Representatives, and goes to the Senate and dies because nobody has 60 votes. What people tend to forget is that for the first 2 years of President Obama's term, he controlled the White House, the U.S. House of Representatives, and had a veto-proof majority in the U.S. Senate, and so to levy the blame completely on the Republican side at the gridlock in Washington, D.C., to me doesn't make a lot of sense, because it was Democrats that were stopping some of President Obama's programs in the Congress in the first 2 years of his administration. So plenty of blame probably to go around on both sides. But we're going to continue to operate, especially at the local level, with the idea that it's a small town and a long life, and we're going to work with our friends no matter what letter is behind their name.
We're going to wrap up with just a discussion of the presidential election, and we'll give you each about 3 minutes to complete what your comments want to be about. And before we start, I do appreciate again you guys coming in on such short notice and helping us out there. And Kyle, you want to start?
Sure, absolutely. I won't take nearly 3 minutes. I want to thank you, Mike, for inviting us to come in. It's been a pleasure to be able to come in and have a very nice civil conversation about our candidates. I want to encourage everybody out there who, as this election winds down and things heat up, remember that this can happen. This can be a civil and should be a civil conversation about our country's future. My philosophy in politics is pretty simple. You can't ever go wrong by quoting Ronald Reagan, and so that's my view of the presidential election. You all have seen countless ads, and you can go online and see through any number of sources the positions of President Obama and Governor Romney. In the end, this election boils down to one question and one question only. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And if you can honestly look at your family and your finances and your situation and say, yeah, we're better off than we were 4 years ago, then I absolutely encourage you to vote for President Obama. If you look at your family and your finances and your situation and you say, you know what, this recovery has stalled, it hasn't reached out to us, we need some economic help right now, then I would encourage you to learn a little bit more about Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, and I would strongly encourage you that as you fill out that early absentee ballot or you go to the polls in November, that you'd vote for Mitt Romney.
Mike?
Well, from my point of view, I want to quote the president's accomplishments in the first term, which I think will be amplified in the second term. First was passing the universal health care. A lot of people are critical of it, but I think it's a wonderful thing. We're allowing students, young people, to be on their insurance up to age 26 now, which is a great benefit to them. We're not allowing the insurance companies to deny coverage because of pre-existing conditions, which is another benefit for people, and that really won't fully go into effect until 2014 when it all comes together. The financial industry reform, I think, was another great thing, and appointing Rich Cordray to that position to run the Financial Consumer Protection Agency is a good thing. The stimulus package that President passed to avoid what could have been a second Great Depression was a very good thing. And doing what he said he would do when he got elected was bringing the Iraqi war to an end and bringing our troops home out of there, I think is another of doing what he said, and starting to draw down the troops in Afghanistan too. Another instance of getting out of things perhaps we shouldn't have been in the first place, but we are in there. And the thing I objected to was they were unfunded wars. Traditionally, the people of the United States have got behind wars and passed taxes and stuff to fund the wars, and we've not done that. And the only people really concerned about them are the people who have soldiers deployed. And I think the president's come a long way in supporting our troops, and I applaud him for those efforts.
Gentlemen, once again, we thank you for coming in and sitting down and talking with us, and hopefully we might be able to do this again, either right after the election sometime, but we do appreciate taking time to come in, and again, it is nice, as Kyle said, to sit down and talk and just have a general discussion.
Thank you, Mike.
We appreciate it very much.
And the bottom line, vote.
Absolutely.
Let everybody vote.
Once again, we thank you for tuning in to this special edition of Lex Perspective Election Coverage 2012. And as we have said, make sure you get out and vote. A lot of people have given the ultimate sacrifice for us to vote. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, until we meet again, let's make a difference.